Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 86 of Shauna Stitches. I am Shauna, and this is where I talk about all the crafty things that I've been working on lately. Today is March 17th, 2024, and it's St. Patrick's Day. I had to wear my green because I don't plan on leaving the house, but you never want to get pinched on St. Patrick's Day. Isn't that such a funny tradition? I don't know where that stems from. I'm sure there's some kind of something about it, but I don't care enough to look it up. So if you are celebrating today, happy St. Patrick's Day. Maybe you'll have a green beer or some corned beef, not corned beef hash, maybe that, or corned beef and cabbage. That's what I was thinking of. I think this will be a pretty short episode. I don't have a ton to show you today, but I do have some kind of exciting things. The first project, I always forget to show project bags. Oh, and before I do this, one brief moment. I always forget this. Links down below to where you can find me and also all the projects that I show. There will be a Ravelry link. If for some reason I don't cover something you have a question about and you can't find it, please let me know. Leave me a comment. So, in my Molly Klein design bag, which I love this fabric, it's so pretty, I have my March Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. I can't remember. I don't think this first sock was finished when I podcasted last. So I have one sock done. And the second sock, I have just completed the heel turn and I've picked up the gusset. But I have a lot of decreases to do. The yarn here is Desert Vista Dyeworks in the Crystal Ball Frapp colorway, and the patterning is the Blueberry Waffles pattern, and it's a waffle type stitch. Very easy, a 4-row repeat, and it makes for a nice stretchy, good fitting sock. I'm knitting these on a 2.25 millimeter needle. I did 20 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff, 80 rounds for the leg, a 42 row heel flap, of course the turn, and I don't remember how many rows exactly the foot was, but I think it was like 96, and a toe. That makes for one whole sock. So I am really ready to have these done. I don't know why, I just have not been in the mood to work on socks. In fact, yesterday, when I picked this up, Saturday, I was literally right here. So I've made a lot of progress for one day, especially because I didn't work on this all day. But I really just want to get it done. There's no way I will finish it today, I don't think. Like, I would have to stay up late for that to get it finished. And since I have to get up early for work tomorrow, that's probably not in the cards. But I will make some good progress, I think. That being said, there's other things that I want to work on. Let me show you why that second sock is not finished, because if I had used all of this time to work on that, it would be. I cast on something new. I know I'm not supposed to be. I'm supposed to be working on whips, but it's very hard to see. And hopefully that isn't loud on the mic. This is a very meshy pattern. This is Look at My Holes by James N. Watts. And I'll be honest, when I first saw this pattern, I thought, what the heck? Why would anyone knit that? But then I started seeing other people knit them, and in more practical yarn and maybe with a tighter gauge, so it's a little less holey looking than the original. And I've had the yarn that I'm knitting this in for a long time, and it was specifically purchased to knit this. So I'm actually doing what I set out to do. The yarn is Rozetti Tibet. It's a 200 gram skein. I'll get into the yarn details in just a minute, but just look at this. You see this? It's bigger than my head, like way bigger. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's huge, and this is the only cake I've been using, and I'm still knitting only from this, and there's that much left. Just crazy. And I did take a picture. I tried it on just to make sure everything's fitting because I didn't gauge swatch, but it does seem to be. And so I will put that picture in here. But a little bit more about the yarn. This is a 67% acrylic, 14% wool, 10% polyester, and 9% mohair yarn. They say it's supposed to be a bulky weight. That's what the tag says, bulky. But this pattern is meant for DK, and I believe this is more of a DK yarn. If you see what that looks like, it's kind of, you see the variation. There's little thick spots and thinner spots and bumps and hairs, and it looks like it's covered in dog hair already, and it's not. It's actually just the yarn. Do you see that? Anyway, I am super excited to be knitting this, and I will definitely make it longer than the pattern recommends because I'm tall and I don't do crop tops ever. I've never in my life done crop tops. That is a section of my body I don't really want anyone to see ever. But I'm super excited for this. And I think it's going to look so good with, I don't know, like a long sleeve or even a short sleeve or a little camisole, whatever, something under it. You can either wear something kind of nude color to make it look a little racy or something bright and fun to pop through. So, let's see. Oh, I will tell you one thing. I just hold this up and it just looks like a black blob. So I don't know what you can really see, probably not much, but I had some real issues casting on. I think it took me 3 or 4 times, no, maybe 5 times of casting on, ripping out, casting on, and in this yarn, that is not easy. So I did make some notes on my project page for the issue that I was having without like giving the pattern away. But the way the pattern is written is like do all these steps and then a bracket and, you know, asterisks and all that. And I've read a lot of knitting patterns in my life, and I thought I understood what was going on, but I clearly did not. So I kept doing too many increases and not enough of the little holes for the cast on area. And once you, I don't know how to describe it. Once you cast on, you're in the round and you do, I guess, the setup stitches, if you want to call it that. And then you just repeat that whole section over and over and over again. I kept doing the setup and the holes, and it just obviously math wasn't working out because I was doing it wrong. But now that I understand the stitch and the pattern, it's going really well. It's a raglan design. One thing that I think is kind of strange about this, here's where the sleeve is. It just looks like a black blob. There are no extra stitches cast on after you separate for the sleeves for either the sleeve or the body. And I thought that was kind of strange. Usually there's like some cast on stitches, at least in the few sweaters I've knit. I haven't knit all that many. So I don't know, I'm very excited to see what it looks like, and when I can actually try it on with something under it where you can actually see, it will probably look more impressive. Anyway, that's that project, and that's all I have been knitting on in the last 2 weeks, which is kind of crazy. It doesn't feel like a lot, although I've already gotten to the sleeve separation on a sweater, and I'm almost done with a pair of socks. But that being said, I'm not so confident that I'm going to have an old finished whip for March, which is kind of sad. Also, I'm using my Let It Snow mug because I can't be bothered to rotate Christmas mugs out, and I'll just use whatever cup I find in the cup cupboard. All right, so that is all of the knitting that I have to show, but I do have some spinning. And it's not my normal spinning. This is a Mirkwood support spindle with a little ball bearing tip on it. And although it doesn't match, I had a little pink gem put on the top because I love pink. Support spindle spinning. I have wanted to do this for a long time, and you've seen other videos. I've kind of dabbled with it here and there, but I just wasn't having a lot of success. And I just, in my head, I wanted to be able to spin continuously while the spindle is spinning. And as much as I tried, that wasn't working. I was just doing park and draft. So, you spin the spindle, let it build up some twist, and then I would come over here and draft out the fiber and then let the twist come up and then wind it on. And it was just this long, tedious process. And for someone who already feels like they don't have enough time to do all the crafts that they want to do, it just felt, I don't know if a waste of time is the proper word, or it just didn't feel worth it to me. And not exactly a waste. Obviously, I was making some kind of yarn, but it was so slow. And I'm not one of those people who think that I have to have like the fastest progress ever. But when I could think I could use a drop spindle or my wheel so much faster, that's what I was drawn to. And I haven't been doing a ton of spinning lately, I'll be honest. But I watched a video by, I believe her name is Spinning Sarah, and she's Mrs. Flick01 on Instagram, I think. And I've linked the video down below that completely changed the support spindle spinning game for me. One, she is like such a good support spindle spinner, probably an all-around spinner, but for sure support spindles. And she says that after all the years, she still doesn't continuously draft while the spindle's spinning. And that for me was huge, because it's like, okay, I guess like that continuous spinning isn't the ultimate goal. I thought it was, but maybe it's not, because here she is making a lot of yarn in pretty fast time and it looks good. So, that's the goal. And I watched her video, and it's such an awesome video, because when you see what she has filmed, I don't know how she did it, how she does it, but it's like the camera is where her head is, but it's not moving. So it's not like, it's strapped to her forehead or something, but it looks like that's the angle that you have. So you see her lap and you see her arms and you see her pulling out the fiber, and she's just really good at explaining what she's doing, showing you tips and tricks for when you run into a problem. And then from that vantage point, it all just clicked. And she has you just spin the spindle for a little bit and then stop the spindle, and then you draft out until your fiber starts to want to draft away, and then you add more twist and keep going. And I mean, obviously I can't show you what this looked like before just the other day, but it has substantially more fiber on there, and I have this much to go. This is just a little sample fiber that came with this spindle. That's how little I have spun on this, just because I was so frustrated. And also, this is not my really preferred kind of fiber prep. It's very, you can't really see it, but I can see looking through it. It's kind of neppy and bumpy with little add-ins, and I just tend to go for more smoother yarns. That being said, I think my singles, it's a little hard to see because they blend together, but I think they're looking pretty good. And this won't be anything fantastic, but my plan is to, once I get all the singles done, make a cake on my ball winder and then do a 2-ply, which I'll do on my wheel. I will not do that on a spindle. So it should be a nice airy, like do you see how much air is in that single right there? It's just really fluffy, and I'm so used to a very worsted style spin, so very smooth, no air yarn. And my singles are pretty thin on this. It's hard to say how much it's going to plump after it's plied and washed, but I bet it's a thicker yarn than I think it will be, just because, yeah, do you see it? I mean, that has twist in it. So when you put, I guess, pressure on it, whatever, but when you let go, like, anyway, there's a lot of air. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's quite bouncy. So I'm excited. I feel like I can actually make some progress. And I think Andrea Mowry kind of hinted at doing another 100 days of 15 minutes a day spindle spinning. And I tried doing that last time, but just I got so frustrated and busy, and that 15 minutes just wasn't worth it to me. But I feel like this time I might actually. And will I miss a day here or there? Yeah, probably. But to do it more often than not, I think would be huge. So I'm really excited. I'm going to get a little bit of that done today. So other crafty stuff. This is going to sound silly. Oh, you know what? I should have grabbed my fabric and I didn't, but I'll just insert a photo. I'm very good at starting things and not necessarily finishing them. And I found this quilt pattern that I just love. It's called Cozy Picnic. Again, I'll put a photo up. Maybe, did I already show this? I can't remember. Anyway, it's called Cozy Picnic, and I am blanking on her name. Miriam? Yes, Miriam has a YouTube channel called Stitch Obsessed, and this is her quilt pattern design. I fell in love with it. It's not even so much the design itself. I love the combination of the design and her colors. So I set out to mimic her colors as best as possible. March is quilt month. Did you know that? And she had a code for 20% off at Missouri Star Quilt Company, which I had never purchased from. And I got Kona cotton fabric, which is supposed to be really good, mostly solids. And I cannot wait to get started on this. I'm overly ambitious because I got enough fabric to make a king size. I really want a quilt for my bed, and I feel like I should probably have started with like a crib size just to kind of get it down, but I really just want a king size quilt for my bed. It'll be so nice and cozy. So I might get started on cutting some of that fabric today. Cutting is definitely something I am not super comfortable with, but I've been watching a lot of videos, and it's like squaring up the fabric is a bit challenging, and also, I don't know, just making sure that it's square, and geometry is not my friend. I'm working on it though. So other than that, I have still been reading. Today is my 83rd day in a row reading on my Kindle, which is also really surprising. I'm still reading the 8th book of Outlander, which is written in my own heart's blood. I'm liking it. I have to be at least halfway through because I'm on chapter 75 and there's 145 chapters, which obviously that can vary in page length, but I do think I am at least halfway through the book. So I'm very excited. There is still a book number 9, so I'm going to be talking about Outlander for a while, but I started reading these years ago. So the fact that I'm close to finished is exciting. I have no idea. I might go back to the A Court of Thorns and Roses series after this, but I can figure that out a different day. I think in that series I've read the first 2, so that's good. And yeah, I think that is everything I have to talk about. Yes, life stuff. I do have some of that. Work has been ridiculously busy. I'm supposed to have 2 people working under me, and we're short-staffed, so I have no one working under me. And I do have one person that I can kind of pull from their job to help me out when I need help, but I try and do that as rarely as possible because they have other stuff they have to get done. And yeah, we've just had some really big cases and some big cases within our county, so I had to go help them as well. And it is rolling into our busy season at work. It's almost spring break here. Lots more traffic. People come and visit, and hopefully it doesn't lead to anything that gets sent my way, but I'm probably not that lucky. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. I really can't go into details because I can't, but it's just been crazy. We'll put it that way. I was interviewed by the city that I work in, by the Chamber of Commerce, for women in business. And it was so strange to talk about my accomplishments and stuff like that, but it's also really good for other women and girls to have role models to see that if it's something that they really want to do, that they can work towards it. So it was nice. I was happy to be, what's the word? Not appointed. That's not the word. Anyway, recommended. My chief recommended me for it, so they selected me, and that was interesting. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't really have all that much to say except that we've had some really beautiful weather here. It was like 73 degrees yesterday and really very nice after all the rain that we've had. I hope that you guys are having a happy St. Patrick's Day or whenever you're watching this. Thanks for coming and spending a little time with me. Hopefully you got some crafting progress done. I would love to hear what you're working on, and I would love to know, are you currently learning any new crafts? And if so, what are those? I always want to hear about that. I think that crafting is so much fun and I can never just stop learning. Have a good day. Bye.